line. So, Chair Cox, whenever you're ready, we can get started.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good afternoon. The Memphis Landmark Commission is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting. Is hereby called to order. Is sorry. Is sorry.
Madam Chair, can you hold on one second? We are, Madam Chair, can you hold one second? We are, can you hold one second? Can you hold one second? Can you? Okay. We were having some audio difficulties there. So I think we are ready to go now, so I do apologize for that.
That's okay. All right. Good afternoon. The Memphis Landmark Commission is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting on today, October 22nd. My name is Joyce Cox, and I am the chairwoman of the commission. Mr. Brett Ragsdale serves as the executive secretary of the commission. Mr. Ragsdale, may I get a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Strong.
Present.
Ms. Doss.
Present.
Ms. Boyd.
Here.
Mr. Norcross. I believe Mr. Norcross will be joining us shortly. Vice Chair Tucker.
Okay.
Here.
Chair Cox.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. The Memphis Landmark Commission and the local historic district provisions are established to ensure preservation of structures that are of historic value of Memphis. Our function is to preserve significant resources, enhance community pride, and foster civic beauty, and ensure compatibility within designated historic districts. The Commission is authorized to review projects and determine their appropriateness based on the design review guidelines. At this time, I would like to swear in the staff. Yeah, I would say you can remain seated, but okay. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Staff,
I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting if there are no changes?
I saw one change and I wasn't there. I think I just texted it to Brett, and it's on the back where it says that I adjourned the meeting. Are you there?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And Vice Chair, we will amend that to note that the Chairwoman Cox adjourned the meeting. So,
Okay.
Yes, thank you for catching that. So with that amendment, then we can get the motion.
Okay. Will someone please make a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second. Let's see.
Rob Norcross.
All right. Thank you. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Say
Aye.
aye. And anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Mr. Secretary, will you please provide us a secretary's report if there is one this month? And then explain.
Madam Chair, we do not have a secretary's report, but I did want to note a change to the agenda that item number 4 will be held. We are waiting for some additional information from the applicant, so that one will be held. And at this time, if you would like, I can go through the procedures for the meeting.
Would you please?
Thank you. The procedure for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. For each case, staff with the Office of Division of Planning and Development will give a presentation. We're working on getting the new division title in there, so I apologize. At the conclusion of staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present his or her case. After the applicant's presentation, the commission will hear first from those speakers in support of the application, then from those speakers in opposition to the application, and the speakers will have 3 minutes each. And then, finally, the applicant will have 3 minutes to provide rebuttal. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to members of the commission. The chairwoman may provide additional time, provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the commission will be sworn in by the chairwoman. We have a number of speakers who informed the staff prior to the meeting about their wish to provide statements during this meeting, and we will hear testimonies from those who have joined our telephonic meeting today. I will call on each speaker when it is their turn to deliver their statement. After all parties have been heard, the commission will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. All motions made by the commission will be made in the affirmative. The bylaws governing the commission require the affirmative vote of majority of the attending members to approve an application, regardless of the number of commission members present. The commission may also vote to hold an application for a period of 30 days. Madam Chair, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, the board will establish...
I apologize, but we do not have a consent agenda today, so I should have mentioned that earlier as well. So yeah.
Okay. All right, then. Let's see. All right, at this point, do I need to read the minors?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then. All right, then. Well, we will hear the first case.
Okay. Item number 1, MLC 20-122, 2226, and 2228 Oliver Avenue in the Cooper Young Historic District. We have the applicant, Brad Graham, on the phone. We also have the Cooper Young Community Association representative, Miss Olivia Wall, on the phone to speak in opposition.
Okay. So, would the applicant please bring them in, and I'll swear them in. Okay. Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Okay. So do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to read staff report?
Yes, I have.
Do you agree with it?
With the staff report? Yes. Yes, I do.
All right. Thank you. Do any of the commissioners wish to see the report?
Madam Chair, I believe we have an opposition, so we will need to have the presentation.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item before you is a COA request for new construction of a second floor addition, exterior alterations to renovate the existing structure by relocating one of the existing front doors, renovating the front porch, replacing multiple windows, adding new windows, and site improvements to pave a new driveway and install new fence along the rear property line. Subject property is located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Oliver Avenue and South Cox Street in Cooper Young Historic District. Next slide, please. The photo shown is depicting the existing condition of the subject duplex with damaged siding and mismatched porch supports. Next slide, please. This photo shows the west elevation of the structure, which faces South Cox Street. The applicant is proposing to add new, larger windows to the bay and close off two small windows towards the rear portion of the structure. Next slide, please. This photo shows the rear elevation of the structure, and the applicant is proposing to construct a second floor addition with a gable roof at the rear of the structure. Next slide, please. Proposed site plan shows the proposed wooden fence along the rear property line and the new driveway with access to South Cox Street, utilizing an existing curb cut. Next slide, please. The applicant is also planning renovations to the interior of the duplex structure as shown on the proposed first floor plan. The proposed second floor addition includes a master bedroom, closet, bathroom, and a loft space located at the rear portion of the structure. Next slide, please. As shown on the proposed first floor plan, the applicant is relocating one of the existing front doors, as shown on the proposed front elevation, and renovate the front porch with new double columns. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing to add 2 larger windows to the existing bay and infill 2 smaller windows on this facade. Next slide, please. On the right facade, there are 4 new windows being added as shown on the proposed elevation drawing. Next slide, please. On the rear elevation, the applicant is proposing to expand the rear left corner of the existing structure about 55 square feet and construct a second floor addition with gable roof. Next slide, please. This before and after visuals show the second floor addition bulk versus the original, which was prepared by staff. Next slide, please. Based on the staff analysis, the proposed alteration, site improvement, and addition meets the design guidelines requirements of Cooper Young Historic District. Next slide, please. The staff recommends approval of the COA request with originally 7 conditions as stated in the staff report, page 7. We also added a friendly amendment to the staff conditions to have the proposed fence along the north property line to be set back minimum 18 inches from the sidewalk to ensure safe maneuver and visibility for cars. This concludes my staff presentation. Our office received 1 letter of opposition in regards to the second floor addition part of the application, which is attached on page 29 of the report. Also, comments from Cooper Young Community Association were attached on pages 27 and 28. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll hear, if the applicant doesn't have anything to say, we can hear the opposition. Or
yeah, I don't know if Mr. Graham wants to add anything to that or not. Mr. Graham?
No, I don't. Unless y'all got anything to ask me, no, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. At least I hope so.
All right. Well, then we have Miss Olivia Wall with the Cooper Young Community Association. Miss Wall, I believe you are unmuted.
I am.
hello, Ms. Love. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Okay, then go ahead.
My name is Olivia Wall. I'm representing the Cooper Young Community Association Development Committee located at 2298 Young Avenue. First of all, thank you for hearing from us. We appreciate the opportunity to speak as always. We overall support the renovation of this property. We do have some concerns with the second floor addition, however. In summary, we are in support of the application for site improvements such as the fence, the driveway, the siding, the roof replacement. We support the replacement of windows, but we'd like to see them in keeping with the original style that is existing. In terms of second floor addition, we really would appreciate the Commission's opinion of its appropriateness, as the addition adds a significant amount of mass and height to the rear of the structure and is built on what appears to be a post-period of significance pre-landmarks addition. We welcome and appreciate Mr. Graham's efforts to renovate this structure, and we would appreciate any effort to adhere to the integrity of the original structure where possible, particularly where it concerns the rhythm and size of solids and voids and architectural character. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Graham, you do have an opportunity to respond.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of the windows that are facing Cox are not original to the structure. They don't have any grid in there like some of the other windows on the what side would that be? The other side. We're not adding a significant amount of mass. We're just basically cleaning up that roof line. I think it really helps to. It's the property behind us. Really, it's nice. It's newer. It was pre-landmark, so it doesn't really go with the neighborhood. But mine, we're not really going to change the character of the house. We're just basically cleaning up that gable end. It's not really attractive when you're driving down Cox. You see the back of the house. It's a very steep shed type roof, and I think just doing that gable end is a great way to clean that up. Honestly, I think the architect did a great job with that one.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions at this time?
This is Commissioner Boyd, and I have a question for the applicant, Mr. Graham, and also Ms. Walls. My question would be, what would be appropriate for the roof line within the guidelines of Cooper Young that the two parties can agree upon?
I guess I'll go first. I've got a property down the street as well that we're doing a COA on, and we did a design on that where we upped the roof line, and I decided to try to make everybody happy, keep the structure the same, because I think it honestly probably looked better. My architect kind of taught me into that one. This one, I really think it looks better, and there's a lot of different designs on Cox. Even though this is an Oliver address, it's on Cox. It's going to look very similar to some other properties on the street. Like I said, the porch is staying the same. We're just relocating. The door relocation is honestly just so the space flows better inside. That door was, I don't know how long it's been there. It was in sad shape, and it came into just an empty foyer, and it was just a poor use of space. So moving that door over, really not going to change the look of the house. In fact, I think it's going to make it look a little cleaner because you're not going to see both doors while looking at it from Oliver Street. And we've got so much usable space upstairs. It was a duplex prior to, so we're just making the space more roomy inside. We're not going to be renting to more people. I know that's probably a concern with street parking. That's why we're adding the parking in the rear. We've already got the curb cut. The fence is going to help delineate it from the neighbors. We're friendly. They're on board with the renovations. So I appreciate the neighborhood's concern. I think with the way Cox is, there's so much kind of diversity already in the architecture. I don't think it's going to. I just don't think it's going to stand out that much.
Okay.
I don't know where the compromise point would be though, because it's either leave it as is or change it. There's really not much middle ground. And the back portion, I don't know when it got added on, but I don't think it's the original footprint of the house anyway.
Okay.
In terms from the committee, why I'm speaking in opposition on behalf of the committee is because our committee could not come to a consensus of whether this was appropriate or not based on our guidelines. One thing to note, Mr. Graham brought up, is that this house is technically on Oliver, even though it is a corner lot. And our guidelines are written per the street block, and so the street block it needs to be gauged against would be the houses that are facing Oliver. and there's not very many. I think there's 4 right on that strip right next to it, and then a couple, much further down the way. But once again, this is in the rear, so it's not disrupting the principal facade, and that's why I'm here talking to you guys, because our committee wanted to hear from the commission what in their expert opinions, do you find this appropriate or not?
Well, let me just say this. We would only base our decision upon the guidelines. So, and I guess that's a question that we may need to refer to staff.
Madam Chair, I don't know if others are, but your volume has gone down since the beginning of the meeting.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just saying that I think that based upon staff's report, because we would have to, whatever decisions we make, we'd have to make it based upon the guidelines. So when staff looked at it, and that may be a question to just make sure that it fits within the roof height fits within the guidelines.
Yes, Madam Chair. I believe our staff report, we found that it did comply with the guidelines, being at the rear of the property and fitting within. It's subservient to the overall. It's lower than the existing roof, and so we did make that finding.
Okay.
For the commission's review.
Thank you. So I guess we need to make a motion, and then the commissioners can discuss if there are no more questions. Can I get a motion, please?
I motion to approve MLC 20122 2226 2228 Oliver Avenue, Cooper Young Historic District, with the 7 conditions from staff recommendations.
Okay, can I get
and the friendly amendment that we added, which would make that 8, Vice Chair Tucker.
Yeah. Okay, add that with the friendly amendment.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Board. I second.
Okay, well, we're open for discussion.
I mean, it sounds like the neighborhood is fairly fine with it, and if it's a difficult situation where it's the house itself, it looks like, from what I can see, has been through a lot of changes prior to going in under our purview, and it does look like that the Cooper Young people are looking to us, and that they didn't have too many objections to it or couldn't come to a consensus themselves.
Okay. Anyone else? I mean, I agree with you, Cindy.
Sounds like we're good.
All right. All right then, Mr. Secretary, can we get a roll call vote?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Doss?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Norcross? Mr. Norcross may be on mute. Vice Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Norcross?
Did we lose him?
Chair, we may have lost him. Chair Cox?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
The next case
Yeah.
is item number 2, MLC 20-135, 71 Clark Place in the Evergreen Historic District. And we have the applicant's representative, Mr. Douglas Leininger, on the phone, and we do not have any other speakers for this case.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Douglas Leininger? I hope I didn't check. Sir? Hello?
We're trying to locate Mr. Leininger.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we seem to not have him on the line right now, so let's move. Mr. Leininger? Okay. Madam Chair, if it's okay with you, we can move to the next item, and then we can try to get Mr. Leininger on the line and come back to item number 2.
That's fine.
Okay. The next item is item number 3, MLC 20-136, 1925 Nelson Avenue, Cooper Young Historic District. We have the applicant, Mr. Chris Stewart, on the line with his architect, Ms. Deepti Deshpande. And we also have the Cooper Young Community Association representatives, Ms. Olivia Wall, and a Cooper Young resident, Mr. Brett Ammons, both on to speak in opposition.
All right, then. Okay, so we'll start with the applicant. Mr. Stewart, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, sir. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Have you all had an opportunity to read staff's report?
Yes.
Are you in agreement with it?
Yes.
Okay. We will have to see this report since we have opposition. So if staff will go ahead and do the report.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is Brett Ragsdale with the Division of Planning and Development, and I will be presenting this case, agenda item number 3, MLC 20-136, 1925 Nelson Avenue. This is a project, an application for new construction. It's a second floor addition to accommodate 2 new bedrooms on the second floor. A majority of the construction has been completed at this time, so it is a retroactive request. And the applicant has proposed making adjustments to the current construction, and that's what we're going to see today. So we're going to see the current construction as it is, and then the proposed modifications to that, which the applicant has presented for review and consideration by the Commission. Next slide, please. So this is the existing, before the second floor addition, view from Nelson Avenue. As you can see, the home does sit up a little higher, all the homes along there. Next slide, please. And this is a view of the current condition with the new construction and the second floor addition. And as you can see, it is to the east or left side of the existing home. It currently has shake shingles as the exterior material. Next slide, please. This is a floor plan showing the addition and location of that addition compared to the existing roof. Next slide. This is an elevation showing what the applicant is proposing to do to make adjustments to this to make it more compatible with the existing home is their intent. This elevation does show a mixture of materials. We do have a condition that we've placed on the project, and the applicant has agreed to, that the material would actually match the existing home, which is a stucco. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be natural stucco, or but it would have the same appearance with trim and the exterior material. So this elevation does not show that, but that's what our condition indicates, and the applicant has agreed to. Next slide, please. So this is showing the side view. So as you can see, it is to the side, but it is located near the front of the property. It's approximately 17 feet from the front of the porch and to the east side or the left side of the main facade. Next slide, please. And this is a rear elevation of the proposed modifications to the existing. Next slide, please. And of course, when we have 2D drawings, a lot of times it's a little bit difficult to kind of really understand the the implications of an addition. And so this is just something that we did quickly to try to get a little bit better understanding in 3 dimensions of what the proposed renovation or the proposed modifications to the existing would look like. And this does somewhat indicate that the material would be the same. It's a very generic kind of model, but and with that, that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Brett, this is Cindy. How long ago was the original addition made?
It was approximately a month ago, I guess. We actually placed a stop work order on it, and so that we were given information that the work was going on, so we placed a stop work order on that. And I do apologize. Let me. I don't typically do presentations, so I think I missed a little bit toward the end of noting that we are recommending approval of this with 2 conditions, and the condition mainly is that the exterior material and trim of the proposed addition would match the existing. I also did want to note that as I mentioned, we have 2 Cooper Young representatives on the phone. We also received 3 letters of support that are in the staff report from adjacent neighbors. So I apologize, Vice Chair. What was your next question?
Sorry. I just wanted to know why you said there's an architect that was involved in this.
Yes, and I'm not clear. I'm not clear if she was involved at the beginning or after the fact. I'm not sure, but that could be a question for.
Why they did not know that they were in a historic district and went on with this, whoever did this.
Right. Yes, and that would be a question for the applicant.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's my concern as we've gone through this many times since I've been on the commission, that it gets to be almost matter of fact about this going forward, and if you're caught, you ask for forgiveness.
So is the applicant, he's still here?
I am. I didn't know if I was allowed to speak to that or not.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, so it was nothing malicious on my end that I wasn't trying to hide the work. My intentions were to get a building permit. I've been in Cooper Young for a little over 2 years. And honestly, life is life, and didn't know we were in a historic neighborhood that required a COA to get a building permit. So through starting work, trying to get a building permit, all of that happened within the same 24 to 48 hours. And the reason the stop work order was put on pretty quick into the project, but I had spoken with the building inspectors about, at the very least, drawing in the addition and taking the risk of spending more money trying to rework it. And I took that risk because I did not want my house open. and he allowed me to do so. We have not done anything on the inside. We just dried it in. As far as the architect involved, the architect came in once I got the necessary, or once I found out I needed to get a COA. I wasn't going to, put a drawing on some paper, and so I hired her to come, and she had the skills and the ability and the time to help me out. So she's on the backside of this project.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we'll hear the opposition, and I'm sure we've had an opportunity to read the letters of support.
Okay, and Miss Olivia Wall with the Cooper Young Community Association, are you on the line? And I believe you're unmuted.
I am.
Okay, Ms. Wall, we'll swear again. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Olivia Wall speaking on. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Olivia Wall speaking on behalf of the Cooper Young Community Association Development Committee. Once again, thank you so much for hearing from us. Although we are sympathetic to the reasoning behind the addition, our duty as a committee to the neighborhood is to our guidelines. As such, we cannot in good conscience support construction that does not comply with the guidelines written by the neighborhood and approved by city and county governing boards such as yourself. In summary, the addition does not adhere to 7.1 and 7.3 under habitable additions to existing structures. The addition disrupts the front facade by the placement a few feet from the front facade, not from the front of the porch, but the actual frontal plane of the primary structure. Additionally, the addition uses contrasting materials to the original structure using shake siding as opposed to stucco. Further, the shape of the addition contrasts with the existing roof line and the front facade. The revision proposed still does not entirely match the existing material and adds more massing to the front of the house, further altering the front facade. We also ask the Commission to put on record that if passed, this will not set a precedent for the neighborhood. An example should not be made for passing something not entirely appropriate just because it has already been built. Although our guidelines focus heavily on new construction, the guidelines should apply to everyone, no matter personal reason or the fact that the work is completed prior to getting proper permits and a COA. Thank you.
Okay, Mr.
And Madam Chair, we have one more person on the phone, Mr. Brett Ammons, to speak in opposition.
Okay,
Mr. Ammons, I believe you are unmuted.
Mr. Ammons?
I am here.
Yes, sir. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. I am neighbor to this property, and I definitely have compassion for him, the applicant, and his growing family needs, and understand why this addition was made. It is my understanding that no building permit was pulled for the addition, which I believe would have necessitated obtaining a COA. So it's unfortunate, I think, that a building permit was not pulled. At least that's my understanding of the process. I have a concern, like Ms. Wall says, that this will set a precedent that basically any homeowner can come in and make changes, additions to their homes, and then ask for approval afterwards. I don't think that's what our landmarks designation, calls for. I think today is the first time that I've gotten to see the revised elevations. In my opinion, I think the increase in height of this addition will call more attention to it. I think that the 3D image that is included in the application is set such that the mass of this addition is visually minimized. I think if the viewpoint was taken from the same place that the photograph was, it appears even more massive. Other things such as the asymmetrical design, typical, I think, for Cooper Young, when a second story is added to a one-story house, would be the airplane bungalow, and that's normally located, at the rear of the site, and often is more symmetrically located. Just this asymmetrical loading is just, I think, from the street, just looks awkward. So my personal opinion would be that the structure as built is less visually imposing than what's being proposed in this application. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stewart, you do have an opportunity to speak.
Thank you. I hear the neighborhood and I hear the neighbors. I'll just say that there was nothing malicious on my end to avoid permits. I had to go, timing of everything, I had to go out of town and was unable to pull a permit. And then, yes, Mr. Brett is correct. If I had pulled the permit, I would have known prior to construction starting. So I am a homeowner here. I'm a resident of Cooper Young. I'm not trying to pull any wool over anybody's eyes or snake the system. I just am trying to compromise as much as I can on my end with the changes, with the design, and pay the fees and try to move forward. So I don't know what else to say to that.
All right, thank you, sir. So, commissioners, I will need a motion, and then we can discuss if no one has any questions. Hello?
Okay, for the purpose of discussion, I move to approve for discussion MLC 20136, 1925 Nelson Avenue, Cooper Young Historic District. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah. Can I get a second, please? Thank you, Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
All right, well, we're open for discussion.
Okay, I still have an issue, I'm sorry, with this. This is Cindy. With it just is getting endemic. I mean, it's over and over people are asking for retroactive things, and it just seems to me that if he didn't get a building permit, that's another strike, too, is that doesn't the contractor have to do something on that, not just the homeowner?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't
I
the
think
contractor?
that's who pulls the contractor pulls the permit.
I mean, I would think it would come down to the contractor, their illiteracy. Why wouldn't they have gone and pulled the? I mean, Brett, doesn't the contractor who's building the place have to pull a permit for him?
Well, I mean, homeowners can do their own work. They can pull their own permits. If there is a contractor involved, then generally speaking, they would. But I'm not sure in this case, if there was one or who would have pulled it. But the bottom line, I think, is that, yes, this work would require a permit. So whoever pulls it,
How many square foot? I mean, that's pretty large up there, isn't it? How much space is up there, square footage-ish wise?
Probably 4 to to 500, maybe a little bit less. I don't know. Chris, do you know offhand? It's a couple of small bedrooms. I don't know if we can go back to the floor plan on the slideshow.
And Mr. Stewart and his family, or whoever they're living in it, they're living in the space now, or they're going to live in this space? They're the homeowners? Or is it going to be sold and rented?
Oh, no, it's for, and I apologize, unless the commission asks a question, I guess, of that they can't speak. But, yeah, no, you're fine. But, no, it's for their family, and it's a couple of small bedrooms.
Yes, they know. Okay, I mean, I've still got an issue. This is just becoming snowball effect of this. I mean, I don't think there's a time that goes by that very seldom that we don't have, someone asking for forgiveness because they didn't know better, although they were living in a historic district. And it's not, and someone that's been in the historic district for 2 years. That's my comment.
Anyone else have any?
This is Commissioner Boyd, and my thought process would be what would be the resolution to move forward?
And Madam Chair, if I may, I know that there was one comment from someone that spoke about the point of view for the image that we showed, the three-dimensional. And so we do have another point of view that might be a little more closely in line with the view of the photo that was shown. So we can show that if you can pull that up. Our director of the division is our wizard behind the scenes here who is running everything. So, John, if you have that and can pull that up, that might help.
I think it's up. There's one up that shows the kind of a
yes, there you go. So, again, that does show the massing from the side a little bit more. I mean, I don't know if that's, closer to what Mr. Ammons was mentioning, to just try to understand the massing of it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So the applicant said that this is just the framing, the shell of it. There's no interior walls or anything at this point, right?
Correct. That's what he said, yes.
What we're looking at now, the images on screen, is that the proposed alterations to what was built? Were they going to extend the framing or the roof line a little bit more over the addition up there? Because that's not how it looks from the pictures that were taken, I think, in September. Is this what's proposed now that the architect is on board to correct what was done?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So what we're looking at is they're going to sort of match the addition or upstory with sort of the first floor or first level frontage of the house. Because
yes, that's correct.
It looks like a shed. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the front porch would essentially roof line and window and trim would be matched. Okay, yeah, that's a good image. It's close to the same angle, maybe.
Let me see. Hold on.
And so these are the conditions where it would turn out like this, more so than the way it's looking now.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looks like it's pushed back a little bit more.
No, it's actually in the same location.
Just consistent with the front of the facade. Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to go on record with agreeing with Vice Chairwoman Tucker what she was saying about the retroactive applications that we are continuously seeing coming through. And I would also like to state that the image to sort of, I guess, what has John up there, which the director is showing, matches more in line with the architecture of the house. And from the guidelines, reading the design guidelines from Cooper Young, that's the image, or that's what pops up of what the result should have been versus what is there now.
So, in the recommendations from staff, they're saying that this the picture to your left is what we're requiring them to do at this point. Am I right?
Yes, Madam Chair. They actually proposed this, and we worked with them we conditioned it to have the same material and trim as the existing. And so this was their proposal to try to modify what the existing construction is.
Okay. All right. To me, it sounds like we got two things here, and one of them is how do we eliminate this from happening again? And then now that we're here with this one, and he agrees to do this, what do we do? Because
well, if we accept this one, this is Cindy, and I suggest, and we did this before in Cooper Young 2 months ago, when we voted one house in and one we did not allow in. In this case too, I think that if it needs to make note if we send this through, like Ms. Wall suggested, that this is not, because this is starting to be a precedent. And, just because we feel bad for people, I've got a problem with that. Somewhere, some education, we've talked about this for as long as I've been on here, and it's just getting worse and worse. So somewhere there's got to be an education, or there's going to be a stop before it ever hits this board and say, no, you can't, you can't even come in front with something that's already built. I don't know. It's just frustrating.
I agree.
Because long after we're gone from this board, we can say there's a precedent, but if I don't know how this is not a precedent, but years from now, someone will show this house and others and say, well, look, this has been done, and here's a precedent for it, So I don't know.
I guess I'm looking at it. When I know a homeowner can pull a permit. So the action should have started when the permit was pulled. Am I not right, Mr. Secretary? If it's in a historic district, they have to have that COA in order to get the permit.
That's correct.
But he started without a permit.
That's correct.
Yeah, but he also said that this was within a couple of days' time. This is a lot to have been built in a couple of days for me.
Yep.
But nevertheless, we are here now, so we have to make a decision. And there may be something that we have to say that do not bring these to us. And maybe that goes in our rules or whatever. If they've already started, I don't know the answer to that, and that's something that we have to get with staff to say, okay, we've got to say set some hard rules for this. Now, what those are, I'm not really sure, or who lets us know when the work has started, they don't have a permit, or what that looks like.
And this is something that I think we just get with staff with, and don't put it off anymore. We put it off.
Yes.
Coming up on another year.
I just make time with y'all.
And then it puts us in a situation where we have to decide something, and it's not really fair to anybody. To me, that's just my opinion.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, having said that, so staff will. This particular one, if it's approved, then you guys are going to go and make sure that this is done in this manner, or who does that?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do that. If any COA that's approved, we, depending on how long the process is, but we generally go and review what is constructed and ensure that it is per the COA.
Okay. All right. Any more discussion?
No.
All right. Well, let's vote.
All right. Ms. Doss?
No.
Ms. Boyd? Mr.
No.
Norcross? Mr. Norcross?
We must have lost him entirely.
Ms. Strong?
I'm voting yes, but it is not sitting the president. And voting yes because this will improve what has been done. But I am not, I'm frustrated that it is a retroactive case.
Okay, so noted. Thank you. And Vice Chair Tucker?
I'm actually voting no with the same feelings as everyone else on this, though.
Chair Cox?
I'm going to vote yes because I want you to note this because I don't know what else to tell him to do with his home. So I'm going to vote yes, and then we have to, as the committee and staff, have to rethink our process as it relates to this.
All right. Well, and I don't know that we have Mr. Norcross. So with that, we have 2 yes, 3 no. Motion fails.
Okay.
And we do have the applicant for item number 2 on the line now. So we will go to agenda item number 2, MLC 20-135, 71 Clark Place, Evergreen Historic District. We have the applicant's representative, Mr. Douglas Leininger, on the phone. I believe he is unmuted, so Madam Chair, if you want to take that.
Hello, sir. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to see staff's report?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Are you in agreement with it?
There's only one thing that I think we have an issue with I'd like to discuss, and it's entirely on the front dormer. We don't have a problem with changing the roof style To recommend a hardy stucco, I don't think we're interested in that. We could do some type of fish scale or some other decorative, different cementitious siding, but we all know the stucco's come a long way, but it's still got a ton of issues. We prefer not to use it under any circumstances. And other than that, everything else that you've said in the recommended.
Thank you. All right, we'll see. We'd like to see staff report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item before you is a COA request for new construction of a 2-story single-family home in Evergreen Historic District. Subject property is located on the west side of Clark Place, the block between Poplar Avenue to north and Court Avenue to south. National Register's record and the architectural survey indicates that there was a contributing 1.5-story bungalow at this location, which was demolished in early 2020 due to extensive damage. Next slide, please. The Google Street View from 2019 shows the original structure at 71 Clark Place before it was demolished. The driveway was to the right side of the lot, and there was a fence along the existing alley to the left. Next slide, please. Proposed site plan shows the new structure to be located about 54 feet from the front property line, with 6 feet setback on the left side and about 15 feet from the right side property line. The proposed site plan also illustrates the rear yard fence to be of wood with 6 feet in height, and the proposed attached garage to be located to the rear right corner of the structure. Next slide, please. Proposed front floor plans show the house to have 4 bedrooms, 1 master bedroom at the ground floor to the right, and 3 bedrooms at the second floor. There is also attic space roughly above the attached garage. Next slide, please. Proposed front elevation shows this structure to have hardy board siding with architectural shingles at the roof, 6/6 double hung windows with 4-inch trim, and a craftsman influenced door with 3 lights at the top. The elevation also shows that there is a full width front porch with box columns and concrete base, and with exposed rafter detailing at the porch roof. Next slide, please. Proposed site elevations show the entrance to the attached garage to be located on the right side elevation, and there's a rear patio at the left side. Windows are also 6/6, matching the proposed front facade windows. Next slide, please. The rear facade shows the rear gable of the roof above the attached garage and the double French doors to the rear patio area. There is a proposed column indicated for the rear right corner of the patio on the floor plans. However, it is not shown on the elevation drawings here. Next slide, please. Based on the staff analysis, the proposed new construction adheres to the Evergreen Design Guidelines requirements. Next slide, please. The staff recommends approval of the COA with 10 conditions as stated in the staff report. Next slide, please. This graphic illustrates some of the staff conditions, which is included in the staff report on page 7. And I would like to clarify that our recommendation to have stucco at the front dormer meant we are recommending a hardy stucco with batten boards, not the traditional stucco as the material. This concludes my staff presentation. Our office did not receive any public comments from individuals regarding this case, and comments from the Evergreen Historic District Association are attached on the staff report on pages 25 through 27. I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for staff? Mr. Linger?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any comments after staff report?
We're sticking with the dormer material. Batten boards are, when you put those 1x2s up there, they tend to rot, split, and warp, and it's really hard to get them looking good. We would much rather do a cementitious shake or something traditional in the neighborhood. I don't think we want to do any batten boards. I don't mind corner boards and all of that, but no batten. Everything else we're fine with.
Okay, Commissioner. Can I get a motion, please? And then we'll discuss.
This is Commissioner Board. Go ahead. Ms. Strong, go ahead.
No, that's okay, Commissioner Board. You can go ahead.
Okay. I move that we approve Landmarks Commission 20-135 at 71 Clark with the 10 staff conditions.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Whoever. All right. So, Commissioners, we are up for discussion. Thank you.
Well, it seems like the one thing in contention is the dormer material. Does anybody have any particulars on that, or is staff in compliance with what the applicant suggested on doing there?
Commissioner Tucker, if I may, we would be okay with some sort of cementitious shake or fish scale siding for the dormer.
Okay, as long as they show you what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion? Okay. So, well, then we're ready for a vote. Do we need to amend the motion?
Yeah. Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Boyd, if you want to amend that motion, or I can amend it so it would be a motion with the 10 staff conditions and the condition that we required for stucco to be the material for the dormer, that we would allow, let's see, which condition is this? Condition number 6, the exterior material of the front dormer shall be a cementitious shake or fish scale material.
So noted.
All right. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Ms. Doss?
Yes.
Ms. Strong? Ms. Strong may be muted. Let's see. Mr. Norcross, are you on the phone at this time?
They're dropping like flies.
Let me see. I think Ms. Strong is still on. I believe.
I did say.
You did? Okay. I did not. Thank you. Okay. Vice Chair Tucker?
Yeah.
And Chair Cox?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
And
we have the new business?
Yeah, we do. We have our last agenda item, which is in new business, and this is an application for a new historic district. It's item number 5, NHD 20-001, the Crosstown Historic District. And on the line, we have the applicant, Ms. Jennifer Amito, and we have representatives from the Crosstown Memphis Community Development Corporation, the president, Ms. Anna Joy Tamayo, and we also have two representatives in support as well, Ms. Portia Stevens and Mr. Justin Gillis. So with that, I believe we are going to turn it over to the applicant to discuss their proposal, and the commission can discuss with them any questions they might have. Ms. Amito?
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Amito. My address is 297 North Montgomery Street. Thank you, Ms. Chairwoman, for allowing me an opportunity to speak. It was interesting listening to the different guidelines that were coming in place and hearing kind of y'all's feedback too, and it makes me think even more so as Crosstown is in a position of transition that more than ever right now, we need these guidelines put in place to preserve this historic neighborhood. As you know, homeownership is definitely a key mechanism for building and transferring wealth within the city of Memphis. But we also know that Memphis is 56% investor-owned properties, while in Crosstown, it's 74% investor-owned. There's just an increasing trend for rentals. And to make our neighborhood, especially in the city core area here in Crosstown, more excitable and more desirable for homeowners to come and invest in this core area, for us to build up in Crosstown and for people to want to transfer their wealth here into the city, we want to be able to make these properties be well maintained and make the neighborhood walkable and safe. I definitely think that there's definitely a trajectory for growth in the Crosstown area, but if we don't have guidelines in place that promotes a high standard of design and builds upon the characteristics of this community, we could be setting ourselves for a trend that will destabilize the neighborhood, that can continue toward homeownership or disinvestment in these homes. Basically, these guidelines are just set up as an architectural principles and designs for development, and these coincide with the Unified Development Code, and they also speak volumes to the Memphis 3.1 initiative, which, as most of you know, it highlights the Crosstown area, and it also highlights the Poplar Cleveland area as well as the Crosstown Mound. Some of the initiatives that I think that are important just to highlight in the Memphis 3.10 are from Objective 1.2. One of them in 1.2.4 says that the Memphis initiative will ensure that design principles are consistent with adapted design guidelines of the downtown and historic districts. 1.2.10 says that Memphis will ensure the adequate protection in historical overlay districts to respect the historic characters. Objective 1.2.18, it says it is encouraging the use of preservation tools to preserve historic buildings and structures and sites that are significant to the history of Memphis. 1.2.21 states that it discourages demolition of historic significant structures and building types and encourages the use of tax credits to improve historic acres. Basically, as most of y'all have known and probably have experienced Crosstown and yourself, that this neighborhood qualifies, not only qualifies, but has a historic and geographic location to prove that it has a historic significance. I think that if Memphis is serious about building up and not out, we need to start ensuring that the city core and these city core neighborhoods, like Crosstown, have guidelines in place that can help concentrate investment and growth and these basic fundamental neighborhood values of maintaining and respecting the historic homes and nature. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Amito. We now have Ms. Anna Joy Tamayo, who is the president of the Crosstown Memphis Community Development Corporation. Ms. Tamayo?
Hi, my name is Anna Joy Tamayo. As he mentioned, I'm the president of the Crosstown Memphis CDC. My address is 294 North Montgomery Street. So not only am I the president of the CDC, but I also happen to be one of Jennifer's neighbors. The Crosstown Memphis CDC fully supports the application of the Crosstown Historic District status. One of the CDC's main purposes is to support and promote the economic development of the neighborhoods in which we operate. And so we are proud to support the development of this neighborhood as we've already seen it begin to grow over the last several years. Giving this neighborhood a historic status would be a good step in the right direction for building up the pride and identity amongst the community members, and several other neighborhoods around us have already been given the historic status, so it would really promote our own development. Today at work, I was actually speaking with a coworker who lives in the Vecca neighborhood, and I let her know that we were applying for historic status, and we had this meeting today, and she was so excited, and I quote, her exact words were, "It's about time." So we definitely have support not only in our own community, but also in the surrounding neighborhoods too, and so we're really excited about this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, our next speaker we have is Ms. Portia Stevens. Ms. Stevens, you are unmuted, I believe.
Hi there. I'm Portia Stevens, one of the founding members of the Crosstown CDC, and also a neighbor to Jennifer and Anna Joy. They're on the south of the concourse. This is a beautiful way for our neighborhood to have a sense of cohesiveness. So we are in favor of Crosstown Historic District becoming a landmark. So I just wanted to be on here and be in support of our community coming together as a whole, supporting each other. Thanks.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, our last speaker we have on the line is Mr. Justin Gillis. And he is one of the neighborhood representatives from the Speedway Terrace Historic District that we often hear from. Mr. Gillis is unmuted.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your time. I'll keep this brief. We just wanted to voice our support for this effort to establish a historic overlay in Crosstown. As you know, we came before you just 3 years ago and worked very hard to establish our overlay, and we are just proud and excited to see our neighbors joining this effort and establishing their own overlay. This community of homeowners and residents have worked very hard, and we just wanted to be here and show our support for the effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that is all the speakers that we have.
Okay, I do have a question. What are the boundaries?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. I saw the thing on here, but it's
words out of my mouth.
Yeah. Interstate on the west.
And I think Ms. Amito may want to answer that. And
okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. I was waiting for that unmute. So yes, we are bound by Poplar on the south. I guess in the visual on YouTube, you're not able to see it really well. So we're bound by Poplar on the south. We're bound by just the interstate, of course, on the west. And then directly north, we were going to go up straight to Speedway Terrace and actually end, but we just got some feedback from some of the industrial businesses there, and we just decided just to come straight down and be bound on the north end by Autumn Avenue, which gets tucked right underneath the Sears Crosstown building and the Tennyson Brothers. And then on the east side, we are bound by Claybrook.
Okay. Cool. So that big swath of land right there, is that the that south of Autumn down in there? Is that the mound?
Yes, that's the Crosstown Mound.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
that is acres.
So that has still potential. It's been through so many visions of things. I don't know if anybody's thinking about anything now with that, but I mean that's a good thing to have protected for y'all too.
It has been. I think we've been talking to ACD has been talking about some things with the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm allowed to just say one thing.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I actually spoke last weekend with Todd Richardson, who's over, the Crosstown development. He did say that they are waiting to get the zoning regulations changed because I know the state of Tennessee has zoning regulations for it to be public, and they're trying to get the zoning changed so it could be used for residential. And there is a design by LRK, who I think is heading that up, that they have put in place. Though people in the neighborhood have not seen the design, and I think that was one push for us as community members and as in the neighborhood. We want to know, hey, what's going to be developed in our neighborhood? Hey, what's going to go on? And this is one way for us to say we want to ensure that these new developments and these new things that are going to get built and the splits and the rehabs and the revitalizations that are going on in our neighborhood actually have and fall underneath some form of protection. And right now they don't. And that is something earlier that was mentioned, I think by Ms. Doss, if I'm correct, that there's no precedent right now in our neighborhood. And basically we are just asking for that. Can there be a precedent put in place to protect these homes that were built from the 1890s to the 1920s? In this process of revitalization and this process of rehabilitation that's happening in this neighborhood, there have been some bungalows that were on Poplar and Claybrook that were actually demolished in the early 2000s. There was around 10 of them, and now a builder has built 27 homes in the location where these less than half bungalows were. 27 of these houses were built. They have no porches. They have no mass, no scale, nothing in relation to a historic district. And out of those 27 homes that were built, only 8 of them are actually owned by homeowners. And that's right in the middle of what you have is, a historic school, which is, Memphis Tech High, and then bungalows, which is all north of that. And we want to take back our community. We want to take back the historic significance that this area has for the Memphis, as it is, it's in the Memphis 3.1 initiative. Like, it's been highlighted as an accelerated neighborhood, and we have been identified as a core asset to the city. But part of being a core asset for the city and part of, these protections that the Unified Development Code and the Memphis 3.1 initiative have highlighted, I really highly believe that becoming a historic district and going ahead and protecting its main asset will help encourage and help drive back home ownership, which could drive, money back into the city and people wanting to come back and build homes and invest in these areas.
Yeah, I mean that, and because you're on the west end. Pardon me? That's on the west. That's a good thought because you're the west end. You're the only little piece that's left of all that was destroyed when the interstate was trying to come through originally. And the landmark was a big, years ago when they were rebuilding in that area, in the Evergreen or whatever. Those areas, they depended on landmarks to help them out through that as well.
Okay. Hello?
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate it. I think that those are all of the speakers. Any more questions for this body?
No, this is Ms. Boyd, and I just want to congratulate the group for coming together and recognizing that Crosstown is a historical contributing factor to the growth and long-term development of Memphis, Tennessee, and Shelby County. I just want to congratulate you for recognizing that and picking up the torch to go forward with becoming a landmark distinction. It's a historic distinction, rather.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Mr. Secretary?
Madam Chair, yes, we need a motion and a second, and then if there is any discussion.
Okay, this is Cindy. I move we accept 9HD 20001 Crosstown Historic District approved, Historic District as a new historic district. Sorry.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. I think we've had our discussion.
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
we get a roll call vote, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Strong?
I vote yes, and congratulations.
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Ms. Doss?
Yes.
And we'll try Mr. Norcross. I don't know if he's back on the phone or not. Okay. Vice Chair Tucker?
Yes.
Chair Cox?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And that is our last agenda item, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. Our next meeting is Thursday, November the 19th. If you're interested, we're having our State of Housing Summit on October 29th. And it is free to the public. And you are welcome to register. We're going to have Dr. Andre Perry is one of the keynote speakers. Dr. Rothstein, who wrote the book The Color of Law. We're going to go we're going to go over the housing report that we just completed. And we'll have about 6 sessions. And we're actually trying out this new platform called Hop In. And we also have an exhibit hall. So it looks to be really good information that we're going to share. And so you can go on ATD's website and register. And once again, it is free. And we already have over 800 people that have registered. So,
Chair Cox, is it virtual or in person?
It is virtual. Yes, everything is virtual. Yes. Even the exhibit hall is virtual.
Okay. I have Dr. Rothstein's book.
Yes, good reading, good reading.
It is.
And
yeah, I do too. It's good reading.
Dr. Perry's book is called Know Your Price. And it actually talks about the real estate market in African American neighborhoods. Just you'll enjoy it, and the mayor will be speaking as well.
What was the name of it? I'm sorry. What was the name of it? What's the name of Dr. Perry's book?
Know Your Price.
Know Your Price. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, having said all of that, any more announcements or news? Our next meeting is Thursday, November 19th. If not, we are adjourned.